Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's talk about Brady for a minute because Brady did something today that I was glad that I was sitting down for. Otherwise, I might have just felt lightheaded. Brady grew a brain, okay? He actually grew a brain. I don't understand what would happen. I'm happy that it happened because at least it shows some sort of growth. Um, Enough is enough in Brady's eyes. Apparently, this is going too far. Mind you, not Kristen stabbing his grandfather in the heart. Okay. Not the first time that Kristen broke out of prison, waved a gun in a hospital room, and threatened Chloe's life. Nah. Now is going too far. Because now, what really comes down to is he can no longer justify Kristen's craziness. Okay? Can no longer justify that. And so after, Philip comes in there because, Philip wants to sit there and find where Chloe's at. And after, Kristen's like, listen, I don't know. I swear on my daughter's life. Brady's like, I believe her. So Philip leaves, and Kristen asks, do you love me? And Brady's like, yeah, I'm still always going to love you. Apparently she didn't really hear that part. She just kind of heard what she wanted to hear, and she was like, oh, good. Well, everything can be forgiven and fixed. Yo, this chick is so far past... Kristen is definitely a character. But Brady's like, no. I mean, like, we're done. Like, I can't justify all of this. I mean, let's be honest. Kristen was going to kill his sister. Like, I mean, yeah, Lucas too, but, like, he was going to sit there and kill his sister. You would think any one of those number of things that would just be like, nah, I'm good. But all three of them, between that, Chloe, he had enough. He had enough. And, Kristen, she gave her usual BS speech about, oh, well, I was trapped in the corner. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I was, the usual song and dance. And then, I can't believe she actually did this. She was like, well, what about our daughter? Seriously? This guy's about to break out with you and you played a parent card? Are you kidding? At this point, why not? Why not? Because I don't think there's a level that's too low that Kristen wouldn't go. I really don't. But, Brady's like, listen, I am thinking about her. And, this is over. This is done. So all that crying and pleading and everything else that she did really didn't matter because he finally had enough, aka he started to grow a brain. I didn't think this was going to actually happen. I am so glad. There was a time I took a bit of a break. I'm so glad I came back. I'm so glad I came back to sit there and watch this man grow a brain. Now, hopefully he'll start to, improve himself a little bit more. Especially with the whole cockamamie plans. And the first time I actually saw this guy, he was planning on trying to bring down Titan. You were planning on trying to bring down your grandfather's company. Okay. But you worked there. How did you think this was going to go? How do you think this is going to work? Not to mention all the other people that would lose their jobs because you're just there trying to get back at your grandfather. Which is crazy because although I understand his anger, your girlfriend stabbed your grandfather in the heart. So my thoughts of him was, I didn't really think highly of him. And over the course of time, I didn't really think highly of him either. But today he grew a brain. So Yes, there's some hope for him. Now Philip is looking for Chloe, and he's asking Sean. Sean's like, I don't got time for this. But Philip is like, listen, just, give me a laptop. Let me look through the footage. Let me sit here and try to find her. So finally, Sean's like, alright, fine, whatever. Philip is looking through the footage. He brings Sean over like, hey, listen, I see her. And right, the car's gone. But they notice that Claire and Jan are in the car. So it's a good thing that Sean decided to listen to Philip and let him look at the footage and was there long enough to sit there and give him a heads up, because Sean told Philip about the whole kidnapping and everything like that, Claire's kidnapping by Jan Spears, because apparently this is what passes as villains in the show. I know that they had better villains, but I mean, they're just giving us this, so this is pretty much what I got to work with. But with that being said, yeah, it's a good thing that Sean did give Philip a chance to let him look at the laptop, and he realized that they both have a common goal. So that's cool. Claire, for somebody who has a gun pointed to their face, I feel like a lot of times she either says or asks the wrong questions. There's knocking and stuff like that. So finally, they pull over and Jan's like, listen, she's like, if we try to run, I'll shoot you in the leg. And Claire's like, well, that's horrible. That's terrible. You think she cares about your fit? Like she's gonna sit there and be like, oh, you're right, that's so terrible. Let me not shoot you in the leg. I'll just let you get away. Listen, I've seen worse hostages. Like, I've seen worse kidnap victims or whatever, but she's, I don't get her. I feel like she's starting to revert back to the other version of Claire, by the other actress that played her, back to the really stupid version. And I'm really hoping she doesn't revert back to that, because I just did not like that version. But then again, I didn't really like the actress that was playing her, because of the fact that she was playing her like she was a 12-year-old child. But anyway, they stop. Jen gets out. She opens the trunk, and she sees Jan Spears. I mean, she sees Chloe. Chloe's another person that I'm just like, what is wrong with you? First of all, I don't know what she was sitting there yelling, she was screaming, and then she was all like, help me get out of here. Now, from what I understand, Jan Spears does not like Chloe. And Chloe, I'm pretty sure, knows that Jan Spears doesn't like her. So why the hell would she help you with anything? As far as your relationship is concerned, you could have tripped, fell, and Jan Spears would have stepped over you and kept going. But somehow in her head, she's like, oh, maybe she'll sit there and stop and help me out of these, ropes and untie me and free me. Yeah, that didn't happen. I knew that was going to happen. I don't even know how deep their relationship goes, but I knew that was going to happen. So she's like, oh, you want me to help you? Nah, I can't do that. Because, I don't like you at all. Okay, bye. And she shuts the trunk and she goes back in. Now, funny thing, she goes back in, and that's when Claire decides, okay, well, let me sit there and try to sneak out. So she opens the door a little bit, and Jan's like, so where you going? Nothing. I was just scared. Claire, I mean, granted, she's not a total idiot, but, with that being said, she closed the door, and, Jan's like, hey, Chloe's in the back of the car, and, I didn't put it there, but she's there. And this is when Claire's like, well, you gotta let her out. She can suffocate back there. Claire, this woman can shoot you right here. As big as your heart is, and I understand you want to sit there and help her out, well, you can't really help her out as, you're, dead, or in agony because she shot you in the leg. Like, Claire, shut up. She just keeps going. She's just like, well, we can call the cops and we could just leave her by the side of the road. We got to do the right thing. Yeah, because she's worried about doing the right thing. And Janet's like, no, I can't do that because the fuzz will come after us. How old is this chick? Because she doesn't look that old, and my dad doesn't even refer to the cops as the fuzz, so maybe she's been in a coma for quite a while, but when she said that, I was like, I'm sorry, what? So with that being said, she's like, yeah. And then she's like, well, you know what they say about two hostages? Two hostages are better than one. I was like, no. Two hostages are much more trouble. I mean, listen, Claire was kind of an idiot as far as like trying to get you to appeal to your better nature, but in reality, that's just more work. Like, that's just more work, but, Jen's, well, an idiot, so I'm pretty sure she's not going to see that. Now, Xander calls up Nicole, and Xander's like, I want money, because, Sammy screwed me out of money. And, he's like, I want like 10 million, and Nicole's like, are you serious? First she's like, no. At first she didn't even want to sit there and come over there, but then, Xander was like, well, if we don't come over, I'll sit there and tell Sammy that we did the deed, and I'm just like, bro, seriously? So I was like, could you not be any more of a scumbag? Because but let's be honest, he did actually defend Charlie. And that pretty much just kind of says a lot. And yeah, I know he was somewhat drunk, but I've been drunk and I haven't said things nearly as stupid as that. But anyway, Nicole comes over and Xander's like, he's like, I want money and stuff like that. She's like, no, I can't do that. And of course, he threatens, sit there and say, hey, listen, I'll tell Sammy, I'll tell Eric, and, Nicole's trying to, call his bluff like, no one's going to believe you. Everyone in town knows that I don't even like you, and they're not going to believe you, and yada, yada, yada. So finally, Xander's like, alright, so you can just give me a job at Basic Black. And of course, once again, Nicole's like, no, I'm not doing that because, I'm just not doing that. And that's when Xander's like, listen, if you don't do what I'm saying, I will tell, and I actually have a witness. He doesn't say who the witness is, but after he gives a compelling story about how they overheard, when she came back for the ring, Nicole's like, she's like, she calls him a bunch of names, of course, but she, at first she's like, how am I even going to do it? And Xander's like, listen, you got 24 hours, you figure that out. So, most likely Nicole's like, alright, fine, I hate you, yada, yada, yada. But she's going to wind up doing it. So with that being said, Xander's like, oh, well, it's your fault because you couldn't resist my charms. And I'm like, okay, Xander, we get it. You're being a scumbag. We all get it at this point. Which, again, is amazing because, Sarah was the love of his life. And clearly, without Sarah, he just reverts back to type, so awesome. Anyway, she opens the door and she sees Rafe. And the look on her face was priceless. Ooh, that should be good. Alright, Nicole. See you lie you out of this one. Go. So, yes, the person at the door was Rafe as far as Sammy and Lucas. So Rafe pretty much plays a game of 21 questions. He's like, well, why did Kristen try to kidnap you? Like, what's going on? And of course, Sammy does her best to sit there and try to tell the truth, but not implicate why that Kristen was going after her. She gets Lucas to sit there and lie, and Lucas kind of stonewalls. And Rafe is like, first of all, by the way, can we just switch Rafe with Jordan from General Hospital? We could just switch them because Rafe seems like he is so much more on point as far as trying to figure stuff out and trying to get things done. And Jordan, on the other hand, is just I don't know. Anyway, he figures out that he he guesses that most likely Kristen has something over Sammy, which is why she's not telling the whole truth. Um, and also, you know, Lucas isn't that they're trying to do his best to sit there and protect most likely Sammy. But with that being said, they pretty much just kind of stonewall him. They gave him something, I guess. I don't remember exactly what Sammy said, but she gave him something as far as the gun and Xander and stuff like that. So, you know, Rafe is already upset with Sammy because this isn't the first time that Sammy kind of stonewalled him. Yeah, it might have been for the right reasons, but you know, in the long run, if she would have just came out and told the truth and trusted him, he would have did his best to sit there and protect Allie and Sammy. So he's already upset with her, and he's like, you know what? Listen, I guess I'll just go with what you gave me, with little help you gave me, because you just love making my life a living hell, and you're just a giant headache. And he, with that being said, he practically just walks out, and you know, Sammy is just once again she's panicking, and you know, she still feels that EJ is gonna find out, or that he already knows, and she's already like she thought that EJ was at the door. She was that afraid. I still don't understand how you're gonna sit there and be married to somebody who is physically making you nervous. Like he's going to actually do something to you. I don't get that, but whatever. Anyway, she just sits there and tells Lucas that we gotta be more careful, and you know, okay, Sammy. You know, eventually this whole truth is gonna come out, and I cannot wait until EJ comes back in. Either it's the original actor or somebody new. I know how a lot of people feel about recast. Trust me, I totally get it. And a lot of times recasting can go more wrong than right. This is coming from a person who's been watching One Life to Live for a while and GH for a while. So I know when recasting goes hella wrong, but I don't know. Sometimes it needs to happen, and the only thing you can sit there and do is hope for the best. And if they don't work out, then you just hope that they find somebody else. Because they did that with Carly a couple of times until they eventually got it right. And with that being said, that's actually going to do it. I think that's pretty much about it. If I missed anything, please write in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video.